Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 71st episode of Brew Talk with Mr. Beer. My name is Robert. I will be your host once again for today's show. We appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in to watch us. We have moved the filming location around the office a little bit as we move some things around, so hopefully it'll help a little bit with the sound, a little bit with the lighting, to keep bringing you guys better videos now that we're cruising along here into our 70th, 70s, and 80s and 90s for episodes as we keep moving forwards. A little housekeeping before I get started. If you enjoy our episode, please make sure to like or comment on the post. If you're on Instagram or Facebook where you can share it, please share it. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are currently on Instagram doing a giveaway, so if you're not following us on Instagram, go to our Instagram page at Mr.Beer. Check that out. We're posting more behind-the-scenes stuff on there and a lot more just interactive stuff around the office. We do questions and polls, so just make sure if you're following us anywhere, make sure you follow us on Instagram. And as always, we post all our notes on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog. It's got a search feature in there, so you can search all kinds of stuff, see all our notes from all of our past videos. So it's a great source of a reference for you. All right, so we got a kind of quickish episode for you today. Something I've seen people ask quite often, so I thought it'd be something to just talk about of why we do certain things. So today's topic is, do I need to use a hop sack when adding hops to my beer? So it's probably one of the more common questions that we get and that we see a lot of people ask. And our answer, as with most of the things that we talk about, is it depends. Depends on the recipe that you're brewing or what you're brewing. We design certain recipes to have you use them or not use them, and that is kind of, there's some reason behind that. We're not just throwing stuff up in the air. When we have you use a hop sack, it's usually because there's a large number of hops that you're adding to the beer, whether you're adding them into the boil or adding them in during the dry hopping session. And what can happen with that, if you have a large amount of hops, they kind of spread out a little bit, and they can clog your spigot when it comes to bottling, so it makes the bottling process extremely difficult, not fun, just not enjoyable. So that's one of the reasons why we do it. Another reason that we kind of do it for certain things, if you're mixing certain hops together. So we have some recipes that will call for a half ounce of 4 different hops mixed into a hop sack, then a half ounce of 4 different hops mixed into another hop sack. You add them at different times during the boil and stuff like that. So what that does is kind of just makes it easier to keep them all together, keep them organized, and helps mix them up instead of trying to pour half ounce packet and half ounce packet and half ounce packet. So that is the reason there. So if you do happen to find yourself in a situation where you're adding a ton of hops without a hop sack, which sometimes we do, and you're concerned you might clog the spigot, give your beer a nice cold crashing. We've done an episode on that before. And that will kind of help everything solidify to the bottom of your fermenter. If you're really concerned when you cold crash it, prop up the fermenter on the front, ever so slightly. And what that will do is that will kind of help all that sediment settle back away from the spigot and not so much near the front of the spigot. And that transitions into why we don't have you use a hop sack in certain sections. So the first, if you're just adding a packet or two of hops, there's really no need for you to add the hop sack in there. It's just an extra step that you got to do. And plus, if you're dry hopping with a packet of hop sacks, or with a packet of hops, not a packet of hop sacks. If you're dry hopping with a packet of hops, you need to make sure that you sanitize your hop sack, because at that point, your beer is highly susceptible to infections. So, adding that extra hop sack during the dry hop, it opens up a risk to contaminate your beer, and just adds another variable that is easy just to take out of the equation just by throwing the hops in commando, as people like to call it, without a hop sack. Also, if you go back to a video we did a while ago with Ashley on bittering hops, she mentioned that the greater the surface area the hops have, so when they're boiling in water, the more bitterness you'll be able to get out of them. So if you're just throwing loose hops into your boil and they'll spread across it nice and evenly, you got a big boil going, you'll get some good bitterness out of it. If you're just having a hop sack, it kind of restricts on how much they can expand, which will kind of reduce the amount of bitterness in your beer. All right, so I'll wrap it up. A little recap. So those are the reasons why you should add or not use why we have you use and not use a hop sack while you're brewing. If you use a hop sack for any reason, or you're making your own recipes and you're adding something that is not being added to any type of hot liquid, make sure to sanitize your hop sack. It's very easy to do using extra sanitizers, something like Star San. Mix up a little bit of our orange cleanser. You can even soak it in a little vodka. Just make sure it's kill anything that's on there, because that stuff definitely add infections into your beer. If you do not sanitize them properly, and if you are concerned about getting a clogged spigot, make sure to cold crash your fermenter. And a side note that I wanted to address, always leave the hop sack in your recipe unless we tell you to take it out. Otherwise, we get that question quite often. People ask, should I leave the hop sack in after the boil? Yeah, unless we say take it out, leave it in. So it's going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys taking the time to watch us. Make sure you join our Facebook group, Mr. Beer's Brewing Society on Facebook. Awesome place to hang out, see some cool things. Follow us on Instagram. We're doing a giveaway. We're giving away 10 free beer kits if you already got one. It's a good way to get more or to help a friend get one. So basically the Instagram rules are that you like us on Instagram, you like the post, and then you comment on the post and tag a friend who needs some Mr. Beer in their life. I hope you guys have a great holiday weekend. Our offices are closed on Monday, so we'll be back in operations Tuesday next week. Hope you guys are drinking some amazing home brews. We're going to have an awesome sale this weekend. So I'll talk to you guys next week. Cheers.